My name's Tom Freeney, and I'm here today to share a story from the Royal Humane Society's 250 years. It's a huge anniversary for them, and what they're doing to celebrate is sharing one of their stories every day through their social media accounts and on their website. So if you enjoy this story or you want to hear more like it, you can find it through those channels. To give a bit of context, my story begins in 1992. It's the same year as Queen Elizabeth's Ruby Jubilee. It's also the same year that movies like Aladdin and Home Alone 2 came out. Now, this case in particular was submitted by the Royal Humane Society of New South Wales, and it took place in Willow Tree, Bomberil Creek. The family involved, the Martin family, were returning home by car, and they were unaware that there'd been heavy rain for the last 2 days. And in the last hour alone, 2.5 centimetres had fallen, so this was a really torrential downpour. Because they were unaware, they attempted to drive up the road, and they became stranded quite quickly when Bomberil Creek broke its banks. Rodney Stephen Peters, owner of a neighbouring property, was searching for a calf at the time, and at that point was up to his knees in the water searching. Thankfully, Peters noticed that these car lights were approaching and then disappeared under the water. Peters had heard that more water was on its way, and so ran to the car to warn occupants so they didn't stay within it. Unfortunately, Peters was knocked over by a flood of water and quickly became swept under. He managed to get back to his feet and eventually reached the stranded family. He gave a torch to Greta Martin and took hold of Joshua, who was just aged 9 at the time, whilst Neil Martin took Zachary, the younger brother, who was only aged 6. They started to walk, but before long, all had been knocked over by the water and washed back to the vehicle. Peters, at this time, lost his grip on Joshua, but thankfully was able to regain his hold and find his footing. The lights on the car had gone out at this point, and as they had been knocked underwater, Greta Martin had lost the torch. Rain was still falling, and Peters realised that it was only a matter of time before they were hit by yet another surge. So they made another attempt through the flood, but Martin's lost his jeans around his ankles and he had to be rescued by Peters. They were all knocked underwater once more, and Peters, holding Joshua at this time close to his chest, managed to stand and return to the car, whilst Martin was also forced back with Zachary. Decided that one person should set out to try and reach Peters' house and get a rope. So, at this time, Martin set out. When he did not return, Peters tied an old dog chain around Joshua and, carrying Zachary, set out once again. So, picture in your head, moving out into the water, beat back each time to the car, but they kept pushing forward through this adversity and through this difficulty. The force of the water was actually so strong that it made that dog chain start to cut into Peters' arm. So he changed tack, picked up Joshua and carried him as well as Zachary. Luckily, they were able to make some progress this time along the flooded road, and then met Martin and Peter's wife returning with an electricity cord. This was tied to a post, and Martin made his way to his family and took his sons to safety, whilst Peters held onto the cord so they could cross safely. Eventually, Peters and Greta Martin all made it across to their families. Peters was awarded the Stanhope Gold Medal and Bronze Medal of the RHS of New South Wales. So, a terrifying scene for anyone involved, but through that continuous push forward, they were able to get the family to safety. So, well-deserved award in my opinion. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen today to the story. As I've said, if you do want to hear any others, they are available through the RHS's social media channels and also through their website. And this is just one of thousands. This is just barely scratching the surface. So before I end, I do want to let you know, and I've been asked to let you know, that if you would like to be a part of this and become a governor in its 250th year, you can do so for the price of £100. And that will mean you're invited to attend a variety of society events across the year, such as the annual General Court, where you can see the awardees receive these certificates and their medals, and you can hear their amazing stories from them personally. You'll also get a 250th anniversary certificate and an invitation to a special celebration at St Paul's Cathedral in September, which sounds like a fantastic event. If you're interested in finding out more, please visit their website, and I want to thank you again for taking the time to listen.